Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. In an earlier video, I mentioned that I didn't do a great job on the clouds I was painting, so I wanted to do some cloud studies this week. Later in this video, I'm going to unbox my new iPad and Apple Pencil and try out some new cloud brushes. The weather is finally getting warmer here and we're blessed with so many beautiful days. And the colors and shapes of the clouds are just amazing to look at this time of the year. I also took myself on an art date to the library to look at the art books and landscape paintings. I was very excited to find some artists that I never heard about before, and I just love to sit here all day and look at their sketchbooks and finished paintings. It's such a privilege to look inside other artists' creative process. The next day I started by doing some pencil sketches. I found some tutorials on Pinterest and tried it out on my sketchbook. I've never loved drawing with pencils for some reason, even when I try these super fancy black wing pencils. I mean, they're really great, but they're still just pencils to me. I think I had some bad experience with pencils in school and I didn't like how they always smudge on my fingers. But I know so many artists that are great at using graphite and they make such amazing sketches with them. I love how their pencil sketches look and maybe someday I'll be able to do that too. Another reason I haven't given up pencil yet is that I still have so many pencils. I bought way too many of them when I just started and probably should not have done that. But I do think learning to draw something with a pencil is like the most uncomplicated way to do it, because what it does is laying down lines and values. There isn't much else you can do with a pencil, so it does make me feel quite grounded when I'm learning something. I also think it's really helpful to put the reference photo next to some artworks that you love with similar subject matters. Of course, I don't mean to copy their work, but I can try to imagine how would they draw this reference, what solution would they come up with. It's not always easy to try someone else's technique, but I find it very helpful to absorb their energy by putting it next to the reference. When I think of pencil sketches of clouds, I remember I loved this Instagram account called Ogygia Art. She has some very impressive sketches and renderings of clouds. Some of them are digital pencil brushes. I actually bought a pack of her brushes a while ago because I was so struck by her paintings. And I had her Instagram page open on my laptop when I was doing these studies. Obviously, I'm not able to be as masterful as she is, but looking at it makes me feel less scared of drawing clouds. I think clouds can be intimidating because they're essentially just fluffy and random shapes, and they are also above us. I don't think we often look at or paint things in that angle, and their randomness makes it harder to understand their structure. I have been watching many tutorials for clouds in many mediums, and I'll put them down below. The next day I decided to do more studies with the fountain pen. I think ink was probably the most difficult way to draw clouds. You have to control the value while hatching and considering the direction of the contour lines to create the three-dimensionality and movement of the sky and the clouds. And I was about to find out that I'm really not a good hatcher. Not sure if that's the right word, but I felt how tired and uncomfortable my wrist was. And I also didn't have the patience for hatching, I guess. The whole time I was just thinking, oh, I wish this was watercolor. It would have been so effortless. And having this mindset just made me rush even more, and the results just get sloppier and sloppier. In the end, I think I prefer the first sketch the most. I still think hatching is extremely beautiful and impressive, and I love using fountain pens, but I'm not sure if it's a skill that I want to work actively to pursue. I think it's a bit too time consuming for me unless I combine it with some other mediums like watercolor. When I paid more attention to look at the clouds, I noticed that the shadow parts of the clouds is not always lighter than the sky. Sometimes the sky is very pale blue while the clouds look like they're about to rain very soon. So it's important to establish the hierarchy, like where is the darkest part of the sky and where is the lightest light. And that is usually where the sun is shining on the clouds. The other important thing to get right is which groups of clouds are in the front and which ones are in the back. For the sky, I see it as a background for the clouds. It's usually some kind of gradient depending on the time of the day. I think if you get these basic structures right, it's not that hard to make them believable. And it's really up to you how to stylize the clouds and use them as part of the composition. I think Devin Elle Kurtz talked a lot about stylizing clouds in her recent videos. She just released a pack of cloud brushes on Gumroad. Her brushes are amazing, and she has a version for Clip Studio Paint, Procreate, and Photoshop, and I'm so grateful that she offered them for free. I downloaded them as soon as I saw her videos, and I can't wait to try them out. I ordered the new iPad when they released it. In case you didn't know, my old iPad and pencil still work really great, but I gave them away to a family member who also wanted to try digital drawing. So I've been without iPad for a few months now, and I really miss it. I was also very excited for the new functions on the Pencil Pro, but I know that Procreate haven't updated their version yet, so I'll have to wait. I played around with it for a bit and downloaded the Procreate app, which was what I used the most. It took me a while to get back all the settings and my old brushes, but I was super happy that I can finally do digital paintings again. As much as I love Procreate, I just really wish that they would add the function perceptual color mixing like Clip Studio Paint. I think after getting used to watercolor, it's weird to look at how color blends in digital painting apps. For example, ultramarine mixed with yellow would turn into a muddy gray instead of green. And Clip Studio Paint has added this function to make their color mixes look like real pigments. And I loved it. I think it's a total game changer for me. It's impossible to go back once I tried it. But so far it seems Procreate is not interested in this function. So I'm gonna try some other apps just to see how it works. A few days later, I tried another painting app, Art Studio Pro. I wasn't too keen at first because they only give you 3 days to try it out for free, unlike Clip Studio Paint that give you 3 months. But I actually think it's growing on me. I like that it's not as complicated as Clip Studio Paint, and the setup is quite similar to Procreate. And most importantly, it comes with the real pigment color mixing functions. I was also very delighted to see that their navigation window gives you the option to look at your painting in grayscale as you paint. Now I just wish Procreate has this function too. And it looks like I can just import Photoshop brushes here and start using them as they are. But I did run into some weird issues with them later on. It could be that some settings need to be changed. At this point, my main goal is not making cloud studies anymore. I need to get used to the program and try out all the basic tools like lasso tools and lock transparency. I wanted to get a general feel about this program, and I think it's fairly easy to use. Coming from a Procreate user, I think that says a lot. The toolbar is also customizable here, which is a function that Procreate doesn't have. I wish it comes with 2-finger tap undo, but I think I can change the setting for that. And I think I prefer the transform tool from Procreate. It just feels a little bit more intuitive, but that's not a big deal. Here I had some issues with the brush settings. I don't know how they turn into erasers. Like it removes what I painted on this layer instead of keeping painting on it. At the moment I was very much deep in the flow and I didn't want to stop painting, so I just switched to other brushes. And the strange thing is, hours after this, when I tried the brushes again, this problem disappeared. I don't know, I must have clicked on something. I still don't understand what happened. I didn't use a reference photo for this painting since I was mostly focused on the program, but in the end I wanted to add something that implies that this is a combination of landscape and cityscape. And I think it turned out pretty well considering that I'm not very experienced with the program. I will probably use Procreate and Art Studio Pro for a while to decide which one do I prefer. Before I go, I want to emphasize how truly amazing these brushes are. There are so many different shapes, textures, and edges in this pack. It's very well organized and thoughtful with the brush names too, like they all make sense, so it's very convenient to use. I also want to say a big thank you to all the new subscribers. I got 1K last week, and I was so thrilled and surprised by that, so thank you very, very much. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.